I'm Evelyn, and here's a day in my life, grand opening of my office edition. It was a huge event. Wait until you see all the good food.
But then it happened.
Just weeks after reporting strong sales and profits, Microsoft announced a fresh round of layoffs today.
50 more! Come on! I want to hear it! 50 more! 50 more! 50 more!
That the company would look to reduce headcount by around 10% this year.
No. I'm not understanding.
Get out.
What?
Get your shit and get out. You're done.
What are you gonna fire me?
No! I already fired you! Why are you still here?
Steve, he was our best programmer in the division.
Then shut the hell up, Bill!
Let's unbox this thought. Do you feel secure at your job? You know, so with this being like me just releasing my thoughts, I definitely I lost my job during 2025. And it really hit me it kind of hit me in a place. It's like, how can you start anything in your life without having that financial bed, you know?
Fear of not having that stability paralyzes you from trying something new or challenging or too risky.
You can lay on, in a sense. You know, you're always expecting the paycheck to come in. You know the bills are going to get paid. You're not going to be thrown out on your ass and be homeless.
And that reality, it's an illusion. Like, no matter how well you're performing at your job, no matter how important you feel, you're replaceable. Especially if you're in that type of state where it's an at-will state, which most people work in. You can be terminated tomorrow. Hell, I could be terminated tomorrow from my job. So it's a reality that everybody knows, but it's like something people sweep under the rug, or you just put into the closet and just don't think about it. Kind of like our mortality.
Right, but how can you feel secure in your job when it's just a normality that people can get fired so easily? And for what I've been told, I mean, I wasn't around during this time, or I was too young to experience it. Back then, being fired was in movies, it was seen as a big thing. When you were fired, it was.
But you can't do this to me.
You know how much I sacrificed?
And I think about that today. It's just hey, you're your number. You're a asset.
Not only just an asset, you're a resource. There's a reason why they call it human resources. You, the human, is one of the resources for a company, and you are just a number. The moment you're terminated or let go, or there's a layoff, your email gone, poof, and business continues as usual. Same goes if you were to die. You might feel that you're irreplaceable. You provide so much value to the company you work for. You're dead. Your job's going to be up there on the board in a matter of days, weeks, or months. Everybody is replaceable in a job.
On a piece of paper, or not much of an asset, and they want to get rid of you, you know, and you got to think about that aspect where your life can literally just be pulled out from under you at any point, at any time. You have no control of it. You could do everything right in your job and get screwed over immediately. And
that sucks. That feeling sucks so much, especially when you know you've done well. But in reality, you know that you can't fight it because it's the reality of what a job is. You are exchanging your time for money. And at any point where that company feels they don't want your time, you're gone.
And you think about this. How can you start anything on that? So let's say you want to buy a house. You know, those mortgage payments aren't going to stop. They're not going to, those mortgage payments aren't going to pay themselves. They got to get paid, or the bank will come for you. You have a kid, you gotta pay for the double kill, take care of the kid, you gotta buy him food, you gotta do things, and it revolves around money. Unless you want to go back to the caveman days, you have to find a way to make money, in a sense. But it's just like, and usually you would want to have that certain rhythm, that certain thing that you were like, okay, I know the money or the resources are going to come from here, because you buy the resources, like, you know, hunter-gatherer, we buy the resources with the money we get from our job to support our lives, you know, and that's the way we do stuff. We don't hunt food anymore. We
Should have taken the shot, fat ass.
and buy food. We have to use money to do it, you know, because we want to live a more modern lifestyle. But how can you live a modern lifestyle if your job is always in threat? You're always under threat of losing your job. How can you feel secure in the fact that, like, hey, that income, that sense of I'm doing something to support my family or support myself, can be just taken away at any freaking point? And it's pushed me to do a lot of things more entrepreneurial. And I find this funny. I find it's fun. You spend your whole entire life in school working to get a job, working to just get a job, but you don't learn that much about starting businesses, you know. And starting businesses literally means breaking the rules, creating something of value on your...
That's the key word right there, value. I will say the failure of the education system and even college is that word right there. It's not instilled into people in college or in school that everything you do, whether you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, an entertainer, it's all about value and how the society you're in values that value. Don't mean to say value, but essentially it's that. And that can be multiple things. For an example, when you see an athlete get paid millions of dollars, the value that they're providing is entertainment. Society deems that it's worth this amount of money. Same goes with the trash collector or someone who's flipping burgers at Burger King. You're not making that much money, but it's because as a society, we don't view that as valuable enough to get paid the wage that you would like to get paid. So it's that game that I believe universities and schools and colleges should instill into people. Instead of it, hey, I need to seek a job, it's what can I give to the world of value that I can get money from. That should be the mindset. That should be what should be instilled from high school and college and on up. But it's not. It's told about, hey, I get the job for the money, but not what makes that job give me money. And the skill sets that I have, and the society and the system views it as being worth this dollar amount, and that's how I'm getting it. It's not just the thing you're doing in and of itself. It's how does the greater society view that thing?
Your own. And it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me on a business standpoint.
And some parts of it has to do with it is easier to build up a nation of people who are just workers, people who are there to clock in and clock out. It's much more simple to do that. It's far more complex if you raise a society to think to themselves, hey, what can I do? Not do as a job, but do for society in which I can get money.
But the school thing, like, it seems like we were set up for a trap. You know, whether it was grade school or college, we were told that this is the job, that you're going to have the job, you're going to get the job, and then the job lets you go. Or the job doesn't even freaking pay you enough. I had a job offer, like, I wouldn't say offer, but I was reading it. It was like $80,000 in New York. And I'm like, how are you going to live on $80,000 in New York? Are you kidding me? and then let's just say they up the pay so you could just barely make it in New York, right? You move all your stuff out there. You go to New York, you go to the big city, and then you get fired or your job gets rescinded as soon as you get there. Because I've heard of stories like that happening. It's just like, what? Serious?
Yep, it's messed up, and I don't want to sound like a walking contradiction because it is messed up, but that is the deal you're signing up for. This is the name of the game. The illusion of security is that, an illusion. It is not a guarantee. We do not have laws where that's a guarantee. Now, of course, people will talk, hey, that's why we need unions, but not all jobs have unions, and many jobs don't want unions for that exact same reason. They want the flexibility to be able to downsize or cut costs, because for almost any company, the largest area of their cost is you, the employee.
Honestly, I honestly think if a company does that, they should pay you for the entire freaking year. They should just pay you the entire year because they made so much of a screw up. If someone moved to a state and they rescind that offer, like they gave you the offer, you applied for the offer, they gave you the job, then you get there and they say, hey, the job's not here for you anymore. Sorry, buddy. You should pay that person the entire freaking year because you just screwed up their life.
You did, yep.
But companies can get away with that. They can do that kind of terrible trash and just get away with it. So it's funny. And that's going off my other video. It's just like figuring it out and going about it. It's just like the obvious solution to it is start your own business or start your own thing and create your own stuff. Like I'm creating here, I'm creating content. I'm not expecting for it to generate income. It could probably get me 1 or 2 views. Who the hell knows? But this is more of just trying to talk about that aspect. It's just like, it's so freaking ridiculous, you know? It almost makes you think, man, you know what? Screw it. I might as well just go out in the wilderness and hunt my own food, become a log caverner and just cut down a couple of trees, build my own house, and just live off the land instead of having to deal with the absolute stupidity that we have to deal with in society. And it is absolutely stupid. We can just, I guess that's why Europe, when you get fired getting fired in Europe is a big thing. You have to go through apparently a lot of laws and you have to make a lot of reasonings why this person is getting let go, you know? So, yeah.
It's a complex thing because, again, it's great to have more job security, but you have to think from both sides of the quarter. One side is the business owner, the other side is you, the employee. Now, many people, like he said, wants to start their own business, so that means you are being a business owner. Now, if you were a business owner and I hand-tied you into going through a lot of hurdles to let go someone, more than likely you would not like that. So you have to think from both perspectives and understand, even though it feels like a shitty deal, that is the deal you're signing up for. Because you as an employee, and that's where people need to think about that other aspect of it that somewhat can be empowering, is you're almost like a paid assassin. You can go to any job at any time you want, except if you sign documents where you state and you agree to not do that. But if you don't, you can quit your job like that. Yes, they'll say it's customary for you to give your 2 weeks notice, but you really don't have to do that, because guess what? They don't give you a 2 weeks notice when they let you go. So it can work both ways.
It's a lot to think about. I'm dealing with it now. I'm going through it and figuring it out. You know, it happened a while back, but figuring out life going forward it's interesting. It's like, you know, you're trying to build your own path, but geez, I know there's people out there who don't have that entrepreneurial spirit, who could not basically get in front of a camera and start building something, or start trying to do their own type of a business or build something. There's people who are not.
And the reason why, because it's difficult. It's not easy. It's not as simple as you show up, you get on camera, you say what you got to say, and that's it. No, you have to garner an audience, and the audience has to like what you're giving out, and then you get the views. And then once you get the views, then you monetize those views. It's not an easy process. It's very difficult. And the difficulty also comes from you're now your own boss. There is no clock in, clock out. It can be a whole close to 24-hour thing.
Not like that. They need a system to work for them. They need something where a system tells them to do certain things and they will be rewarded for those things. And the system that we have right now, if you follow it to a T and you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get, a lot of you are just going to, you're going to get screwed. It's simply put, a lot of you are just going to get screwed if you follow the rules. You're not going to make it just following the rules or what the jobs are supposed to do, especially right now in 2025, right, where jobs can just be flippant with you. They could just, you're fired, you're let go because we want to increase profits, you know. Screw it, you know. Why not just shoot for the stars and just figure out things for yourself? But yeah, I want to open it up to you guys on that one. Open it up on what's your thoughts on it? Like, how are you dealing with that? How are you even, if you have a job right now, how are you thinking about the idea of like, at any point, at any time, right now, I could get let go. I could lose everything, you know, and then like, hopefully the job market's good for you. Because that's a whole nother video I want to get into, but hopefully the job market's nice to you, because it sure as hell is not nice to most people in this world.